Suddenly, the girl found herself in someone's arms. She felt as if she had fallen from the sky. But how could that be possible? "Did you fall from the sky?" asked the man in whose arms the girl found herself. "I'm sorry, let me go, please," asked the girl. "No, I'm not letting you go now. Do you know how hard it is to find a bride? And what if I let you go and you try to run away?" replied the man. "A fiancé? Is he talking about me now? What is even going on here? I remember riding on the bus, then feeling a wild pain. That's where my memories end." The girl thought, "It is absolutely incomprehensible to me how from the bus I moved to the desert. What on earth happened?" "Excuse me, but who are you? What is your name, and where am I now?" asked the frightened girl. "Hasn't anyone told you anything, not even about your fiancé? Then listen to me carefully. I am the Master of the West, Edwin Crawford. I am your future husband," replied the man. The girl remembered the name Edwin Crawford. That was the name of the mad villain of a novel she had recently read. The novel was called Give Me Salvation. Edwin Crawford had many names. He had been called the Mad Western Dragon, the Crazed Killer, the Lord of the Desert. He could kill anyone who annoyed him. Edwin was obsessed with white hair. He kidnapped anyone, male or female, who had white locks. Usually, only the elderly had white hair. The main character, on the other hand, gained the snow-white color of her silky strands after suffering from an illness. In the novel, she was also kidnapped by Edwin. He tortured her for a while, but then fell in love. How can you ever fall in love with a man who tortures you? Did the main character really like torture and suffering? If I remember correctly, Edwin Crawford wanted to drink the protagonist's blood. And how did I end up in the hands of this madman? Thought the girl. "Sir, what do you order to be done with the others?" asked Edwin his assistant. "Beryl, you can do whatever you see fit with them," replied Edwin. The girl noticed the bound people. She realized that right now their fate was being decided. The girl shuddered fearfully and turned away. She guessed that it was unlikely that these people would be released. They were most likely destined for a bitter fate. "It seems my bride has a soft heart. It can't be helped. Beryl, hand me my sword," Edwin ordered. Edwin hoisted the girl onto his shoulder and picked up the sword his aide held out to him. "What on earth are you doing? Quickly let me go!" The girl screamed. She began to drum her fists on the man's back with all her might. Suddenly, white curls fell on the girl's face. She froze in fright. This couldn't be. The white hair did not bode well. If it got into the body of the protagonist, she would face a sad end at the end of the novel. Edwin slit the throats of the bound men with a swing of his sword. Scarlet blood spurted in all directions. The horror of the experience made the girl vomit. Her heart clenched with despair. "My fiancé also happens to have a weak stomach," Edwin remarked. "Okay, that's taken care of. Now we can go home," Edwin said in a loud voice. "And where did I do wrong to get into such an unpleasant story? And how could such a thing even happen? Is it really possible to go from ordinary real life into a book? Maybe I'm just dreaming?" Thought the girl on the way to town. Duke Crawford's estate turned out to be simply huge. It made a lasting impression on the girl. Seth Million came to the threshold of the house. He was the only person Edwin trusted. In the novel, Seth Million met and saw the Duke off and helped him with all the paperwork. "Who is this lady?" Seth Million asked. "This is my bride. God has finally sent me a long-awaited gift. Seth, my bride happens to have a soft heart and a weak stomach. So be gentle with her," asked Edwin. Edwin entered the living room. He sat down on the couch and sat his bride on his lap. "I noticed that you are trembling all over. Are you really afraid of me? You see, I'm not as intimidating as I might have seemed to you in the beginning." Edwin gently touched the tip of the girl's nose. "Look, I still don't know your name. Tell me something about yourself." The girl was covered in cold sweat. She didn't know what she should tell this man. She didn't have any memories. There was no person nearby who could tell her anything about this body. The girl didn't know exactly who she was. Only a guess. "I don't know my name," I don't understand how I got here, the girl admitted. You mean you don't remember anything about yourself? It seems God has sent me a new trial. However, you have beautiful eyes and snow-white hair. That means you're definitely my bride. But why don't you remember your name? Edwin muttered thoughtfully. However, the fact that you don't remember your name is even better. It'll be more fun that way. And if you don't remember anything, I can fill your thoughts with one myself. Let me make up a name for you myself. I'll call you Angelina. From now on, your name will be Angelina Crawford. I'd like to point out that this name suits you very well. The original story told that once a person fell into Edwin's hands, they could no longer escape him. The only option to get rid of his captivity was to become a corpse that was no longer useful. It was written in the novel that the cruel villain liked to torture his victims. But what will happen to me? I can only hope that I won't be able to withstand the torture and quickly pass away from life. I don't want to be around that psycho anymore. Thought the girl. And what is my fiancé thinking so intensely about? Asked Edwin. The girl suddenly remembered that in the original story, the main villain never kidnapped brides for himself. So why was she the exception? Listen, I have one question. Answer me, please. Why are you calling me your bride? Asked the girl. Because I will receive a prediction. It said that my life would be too short if I didn't marry a girl that would fall straight down from heaven, replied Edwin. In the original story in the Arnia Empire, the nobles and ruling family received predictions from the Holy Church. No one ever doubted the truthfulness of the oracle's words. When I received the prediction, I racked my brain for a long time. I thought that for some reason God had decided to play a joke on me. It seemed unreal to me. Eventually, the priest who gave me the prediction was killed. Narrated Edwin. Can you imagine my surprise when you fell right into my arms from heaven today? It wasn't enough that you turned out to be the javelin I've been looking for so long. You think I'm a javelin? The girl clarified. She was getting more and more scared by the second. Only they can have such blonde hair and gem-like eyes that shimmer in the light, Edwin explained. The javelis were rarely mentioned in the novel. The girl remembered that it was the name given to a special type of race of fairies. The javelis lived in the wilderness of the Duchy of Crawford. The oracle called them creatures of destruction for the empire. The prince was very afraid that the Havelis would destroy the empire, so he began a policy of exterminating them. He wasn't even afraid that their death might bring a curse. In the book, it was mentioned that the destruction of the Havelis caused monsters to appear in the empire. If I really belong to the Haveli clan, then when the prince finds out about my existence, he will immediately kill me. Thought the girl. My dear bride, what has upset you so much? You can worry about nothing. No one will ever dare to touch you. From this day on, you belong to me. Just stay close to me, and everything in your life will be fine, said Edwin. But you scare me as much as death. The girl wanted to scream, but she decided to keep silent. With this dangerous man, one had to be as careful as possible. If she started to annoy him, he wouldn't hesitate to kill her. My fiancé turns out to have too many fears. And you keep asking me to let you go? How can I do that in a situation like this? Edwin said in a soft voice. He asked Seth to bring the dagger and the engagement certificate. Honestly, I would prefer marriage vows, but let's not rush things so as not to shock you even more. I have no idea why I fell out of the sky. I lost all my memories. That's why I'm scared. Also, we only met today. I don't know you at all, said the girl. Don't worry, from now on I'll be by your side all the time. You'll get to know me and then you'll get used to me, replied Edwin. Are you really going to do that? Asked Seth, holding out the dagger to Edwin. My fiancé is very frightened. I want to show her the seriousness of my intentions. Now you can go, said Edwin. So, let's get started. But you may not be afraid. This dagger is only meant for me. If you are afraid of the sight of blood, just close your eyes, said Edwin to the girl. Edwin made a cut on his finger and held it out to the girl. He asked her to drink his blood. As Edwin explained afterward, this manipulation bonded the two people forever. "Well then, now it's your turn," Edwin said, much to the girl's consternation. He had told her that the dagger was only for him. Why did he change his mind? The girl shrieked and ran backwards. "You don't have to run away. I promise you to do everything gently. You have absolutely nothing to be frightened of," whispered Edwin in a gentle tone. Edwin made a small cut on the girl's finger and drank her blood. "Now explain to me in more detail why we did this," the girl asked. "This dagger has a magic spell on it. You and I have now made a blood oath. Henceforth our bodies will be one. Now I will be able to realize where you are. I will sense if you are in danger," Edwin explained. "Now let's finish the formalities and sign this document." What am I supposed to do now? Do we run away? No, that's not an option. I'd be caught quickly. Besides, I don't know the local language. I'm unlikely to be able to find a job and provide a place to live, and I'm not entirely sure if this is a curse or a blessing. The girl thought. Edwin had set aside a bright, spacious room for his bride. His room was next door. To be honest, I didn't think our meeting would be so sudden, so I didn't have time to prepare. I'm sorry if there's anything you're unhappy with. If you suddenly need anything, it's just a matter of telling me about it," Edwin asked his fiancée. A maid entered the room. She introduced herself by the name Sarah. She was the head maid of Crawford Manor. "Hello, my name is Jenny. I will do my best to make you comfortable," said the blonde-haired girl. "Put me down on the floor, please. I want to greet these people," asked the girl to Edwin. He didn't stop holding her in his arms. "Greet from my arms. No one will dare to judge you, even if you do it lying down. Remember, henceforth, you are the bride of the master of the West himself, Edwin Crawford. Never forget that," said Edwin. "Though he said we would always be together, it is far from true. So what am I supposed to do now? I've never been in a situation like this, and I don't know how to act right." The girl thought to herself when she was finally alone. The girl walked over to the mirror to examine her face. "I have no doubts now. I'm definitely a Javelli. That's how the original story described this race of type of fairies. Now I finally understand why the main villain was obsessed with white hair. He was looking for a fairy. But why would he want her? The novel didn't say why Edwin was looking for a Javelli. That's something I'll have to find out for myself. But since Edwin made a blood contract with me, doesn't that suggest he wants to protect my life? I'm sure life with him will never be peaceful. It's extremely hard for me to guess when he will do something crazy. And now I won't be able to escape. He'll be able to track all my movements. Also, I'm pretty sure that if the Emperor finds me, I'm unlikely to be able to negotiate with him. Maybe I'm safer staying close to Edwin after all. He believes in prophecies and is convinced I am a godsend. It's decided. I'll stay in this house for a while. It is the safest option. I know that even a villain can be tamed. That's the main cliché of such novels. However, all villains are different. In some novels, the main villain remains conniving and heartless until the very end. Will I be able to get Edwin on my side? Won't I annoy him? And do I even stand a chance of survival? No, I need to put aside those pernicious thoughts. There is always a chance of survival. I'm sure that if I keep quiet, I'll live a long time. I won't make any unnecessary trouble. I'll try not to go outside this house. The girl noticed a ring on her finger. It had some kind of inscription engraved on it. The girl asked Jenny to read what was written on the ring, but unfortunately the maid did not know the language. This jewelry looks ominous, and also the inscription is impossible to read. Somehow I feel like something bad happened to the previous owner of this body. And why was she falling from the sky in the first place? What happened to her? Questioned the girl. When the girl opened her eyes in the morning, she saw a sweetly smiling Edwin in front of her. "Well, you're finally awake. I never thought my fiancé would be so sleepy," said Edwin. "And why are you here? What do you want with me? Are you really going to come to me every morning?" asked the girl as Edwin sat down on the edge of her bed. "Angelina, I told you that from now on I will always be there for you. Or is it that you don't like it?" No, I don't mind. Do what you want. But I just woke up. I haven't even had time to wash my face. The girl felt extremely uncomfortable. She didn't want anyone to see her unbrushed in the morning. Huh, how cute you are after all, said Edwin, laughing. He gently stroked his bride's head. Well, let's go to breakfast. Edwin picked his bride up in his arms and carried her into the dining room. You fell asleep soundly last night. You have no idea how upset I was that you and I didn't have dinner together, said Edwin at breakfast. The girl was very nervous, so she couldn't eat everything on her plate. She was embarrassed that Edwin never took his eyes off her during breakfast. Edwin beckoned one of the waiters over to him. Tell the cook that my bride enjoyed the seafood, mushroom soup, sweets, and sour sauces, said Edwin to the waiter. The girl noted to herself that he kept looking at her plate, but didn't eat anything himself. Why aren't you eating anything? Asked the girl to Edwin. Are you worried about me? How amusing this is after all. I'll have to donate more money to the temple. They sent me a bride with a beautiful heart, said Edwin and laughed out loud. It's time for you to get changed. And don't worry about me. I prefer light breakfasts. Edwin rose from his seat and walked over to the girl and stroked her head again. Orders yesterday were urgent, so I bought things in a hurry. I want to warn you that this may not fit you, but we'll be sure to fix that a little later, said Jenny. When Jenny opened the dressing room, the girl saw a huge amount of all kinds of dresses and shoes. She was surprised to see that it had all been bought in just one day. As I have come to realize, I died in the real world and was reborn in the novel. Yes, it's hard to believe, but I have absolutely no time to be sad or deny what's going on, because I've fallen into the hands of a crazed killer. The girl thought sadly. First, I need to increase my chances of survival, and to do that, I should cut down on dangerous situations. I can't let the imperial family kill Edwin. Without him, I will perish. The novel told us that Edwin died at the hands of the prince. He was killed by Sephiroth's sword. It was a blade made of dragon scales. It could cut through anything in this world. It was also filled with divine power that neutralized an opponent at the master's will. I need to find this blade before the crown prince does. If I fail in this task, not only will Edwin die, but also me. Come along with me. I want to make a gift for you. Edwin took his bride by the hand and led the way. He sat the girl down at a table on which stood several boxes. Do these things remind you of anything? If I remember correctly, the Javelli race inherited the blood of fairies whose power was found in stones. I'm sure you have the ability to use gemstones, said Edwin. Every member of the Javelli race has their own special talent. I don't know what abilities you possess. Usually the Javellis have a talent for healing. So how am I supposed to use these stones? I have absolutely no memory of how to use my power, mumbled the girl. Think about it. That will be your homework. When you learn how to control your power and the stones, I will grant your every wish. But don't break the engagement or ask me to let you go. There will be no escape from me, said Edwin. Edwin decided to bring his bride to the desert. Edwin, why did we come to the desert? Asked the girl. Did he really want her to awaken her powers among the sand? I brought you here because this is Haveli's home. I wanted to see if your memories would come back to you if we came here, replied Edwin to the girl. It won't work, because the problem isn't memory loss. It's soul swapping. I hope he doesn't bury me right here when he finds out I've been deceiving him. The girl thought to herself. The land where the Chevellis lived has been called Ambria for centuries. This territory belonged to our lands. When I was a child, my father often told me about the Chevellis, narrated Edwin. The novel did not tell much about Edwin's father. The death of the first Duke of Crawford was believed to be connected to the imperial family. The emperor considered him a nuisance, so he destroyed him. When the Javelin lived in this place, it looked different. Now Ambria is protected by a barrier. You can't enter the area without permission. For outsiders, this place does not exist. Edwin continued to narrate. Angelina, the tree in front of you is the guardian of the Javelli race. It is through it that the barrier is maintained. The girl approached the tree and gingerly touched its trunk. Suddenly, she felt her hand sticking to the trunk. The girl tried to pull her hand away, but she failed. It was as if her hand had become attached. The girl felt dizzy and fell to the ground. "Angelina, what's wrong with you? Try to get your hand off," shouted Edwin. A shout of soldiers was heard. They were being attacked by mercenaries. Edwin pulled out his sword and swung it at his bride. The girl was so scared she couldn't even scream. Blood splattered. The mercenary standing behind the girl fell dead to the ground. "How dare you touch what belongs to me?" Edwin snarled angrily. "Angelina, are you all right?" "Wait a little longer. I'll settle the matter with the mercenaries now, then I'll come back to you afterward. Try not to die in the meantime, and even if you do, I will haunt you even in hell," Edwin warned. What the hell is going on right now? How did I even get myself into this idiotic situation? But the funny thing is, when Edwin calms me down, I feel safe, thought the girl. I must be slowly going insane, since I feel safe around a madman who kills people without remorse in an instant. When the blonde-haired girl fell into Edwin's arms, he was both surprised by it and pleased. The time, place, and her appearance were as predicted. To check if the girl was indeed a Javelli, Edwin decided to give her a drink of his blood. When an ordinary man drank Crawford's blood, he would start writhing in pain. This did not happen to the girl. Edwin then decided to make a blood pact with her. He also drank her blood. Edwin decided to bring his bride to Ambria so that she would remember how to manipulate the stones when she saw familiar places. Unfortunately, they were attacked by mercenaries. Things didn't go according to plan. I must protect my bride. I won't find another one like her again, Edwin thought to himself. When the mercenaries were finished, Edwin hurried back to his bride. The girl was lying unconscious on the sand. "Angelina, please wake up!" shouted Edwin. Edwin cradled his fiancée against him. He could feel that she was alive. Then why was she not regaining consciousness? The girl was examined by a doctor. He could not explain why she had fainted. Edwin wrapped his bride in a blanket and waited for her awakening. With the mercenaries' problem solved, Angelina is safe, but the anger has gone nowhere. When I remember how scared my fiancé was because of the mercenaries, everything turns inside me, mumbled Edwin. "Angelina, there's no way I'm letting you go, or I think I'll just go crazy. Forgive me for my oversight. I will never put you in such danger again. I shouldn't have acted so rashly. I've had a lot of second thoughts now. Angelina, I beg you to wake up soon. The time has finally come. I've had to wait so long," whispered a man in a long black cloak, touching the tree. "Kassan, is there anyone left alive?" asked the prince. Kassan answered him nothing. "Kassan, well, why did things not go according to plan again? I didn't appoint you as the head of the Ravens for nothing. Try not to disappoint me again." "I promise you I will find her no matter what it costs me," replied Kassan. "And where is she hiding? Father will grumble again that I failed to find her. I can't understand why he's so desperate to convince me to get rid of the Chavelli race. It won't do any good as long as Crawford is alive." The prince muttered thoughtfully. "And I can't understand why my best mercenaries haven't killed him yet. The Chavelli race is almost completely wiped out, so why is he still alive? He should have died with his father. But he's alive, and he's inherited his family's abilities. The empire of Arnia was in the hands of the powerful. The capital and surrounding areas were ruled by the imperial family. The east was in the hands of Duke Peyton. The west was ruled by Duke Crawford. The south was ruled by the Duke of Chavigny. And the head of the north was Archduke Hyman. Duke Crawford had the strongest army. It defended the western border. Even the imperial army couldn't match Duke Crawford's army. And the Duke himself possessed great strength. As long as these people are loyal to the imperial family, there is no better defense. But what if they change their minds? I can't let that happen. My rule must be perfect. The Arnia Empire belongs to me, mumbled the crown prince. The first thing Angelina saw was a smiling Edwin. "What are you doing in my bed?" the girl exclaimed fearfully. You don't remember anything again? Apparently you were in too much pain yesterday, mumbled Edwin. The girl remembered all the nightmare that had happened in the desert. She burst into bitter tears. Edwin put his arms around Angelina and pulled her close to him. That guardian tree in the desert, it was dead, wasn't it? The girl asked. Yes, it died years ago, replied Edwin. Then why did it grab me and not let me go? Asked Angelina the next question. It seems my fiancé is special. Even the dead trees are becoming kin in regards to her. I'll find out in time why that happened, so don't worry. Edwin smiled sweetly at the girl. He wanted to put her at ease as soon as possible. I have one more question. Who are the people who attacked us? Angelina asked. What I'm about to tell you may surprise you. There is a special band of mercenaries called Ravens. They are people with red eyes. They belong to a secret imperial organization. Edwin began to narrate. This organization arose at the beginning of the persecution of the Chevalier race 15 years ago. It operates under the command of the Crown Prince. All information related to this organization is shrouded in secrecy. All that is known is that they continue to search for traces of the Havelis. That's it, I'm finished. They've learned of my existence. They will continue to search for me until they find me. And why do I feel like I won't be able to escape them? This situation is really scaring me. What will happen when they catch me? Frightenedly thought the girl. I expected such a reaction, so I didn't want to tell you anything. I want to assure you that as long as I am by your side, you have nothing to fear. They can never harm you, Edwin assured the girl. Well, now I'll have to spend my whole life around this madman to survive, thought the girl and cried again. I think you've taken on too many problems. You should have a simpler attitude towards life, said Edwin, and gently put his arm around the girl. Right now there is no place on Earth where I can feel safe, so I need to unlock the power of the gems as soon as possible, decided the girl to herself. Angelina decided to study all the books that had been written about the Javelli race and their powers. Jenny noticed that her mistress was in a bad mood. The maid suggested that Angelina take a walk in the garden. The weather outside was glorious. Angelina decided to have breakfast in the gazebo in the garden. There you are, exclaimed Edwin, who approached. I noticed that you really enjoyed yourself in the garden. Your face looks happy and relaxed. You don't look like that next to me, which makes me very sad. While walking in the garden, I picked many beautiful flowers and then decided to have tea. The maids brought me lots of sweets. They are very delicious. If you want, you can try some, said the girl. Angelina held out a piece of cake to her fiancé. What a sweetheart you are, after all. I never thought I would be so worried about my fiancé looking at me intently, said Edwin, touching the tip of the girl's nose. Edwin suggested that they weave wreaths for each other out of the picked flowers. With a smiling Edwin by my side, I begin to think that last night's events were just a nightmare. But they weren't, Angelina thought. What are you thinking about now? Edwin asked the girl. I am unaccustomed to the fact that you and I wear paired wreaths, the girl admitted. She had wished never to meet Edwin Crawford, but by fate she had fallen into his house. They are now bride and groom, wearing paired garments. Edwin, please tell me what this tower is, Angelina asked. Edwin looked at the tower. It immediately gave him a chill. Angelina guessed she shouldn't have asked that. I don't want to tell you about unpleasant things. You'd better never ask about that tower. I want you to see only pleasant things, replied Edwin. What about warning the knights and servants? Asked Edwin to his subordinates. We have taken appropriate measures to prevent problems. You have nothing to worry about, said Beryl. And mistress, she really doesn't remember anything, asked Seth. Yes, she really doesn't remember anything, and I don't know what to do about it. I don't know where or how she's been living all this time. I think she recently celebrated her coming of age. She was probably 3 years old when the javelin hunt began, replied Edwin. However, my father told me that there were no survivors in Ambria, so someone took and hid the child. But what happened next? Why did she lose her memory? And why did she fall from the sky to the ground? Let's try to find out that information through the Shark Organization, suggested Seth. I'm not sure we'll be able to find them. The thing is, because of the ravens, they haven't shown up for several years now. By the way, what do we know about ravens? Edwin asked. They keep exploring the desert. Apparently they haven't given up hope of finding the javelin, replied Beryl. But that is extremely foolish of them. Ambria was destroyed 15 years ago. None of the survivors will return to the blighted place. Not even a guardian tree can recognize people of their race. Noted, Edwin. Crown Prince Asarian entered the living room. Duke Shavini bowed low to him. Your Highness, I have heard that you are very popular with the young ladies. How long do you plan to steal the hearts of the ladies around you? Duke Shavini asked. I need to look for a mate. Such is the fate of an heir. As it is a choice for the rest of my life, so I approach the matter with the utmost care, replied the prince. Since the Duke wanted to gain the Crown Prince's support, he presented him with an innovative watch. They were worked on by the Empire's greatest craftsman, Karanan. And the gemstones that adorn this watch came from the Peyton Duchy? Clarified the Crown Prince. Yes, they did, replied the Duke of Chavigny. That is encouraging. It's still great that two strong dukes of our empire firmly control the entire gemstone industry of the continent, said the prince. Duke Chavigny knew about the prediction. Several years ago, the oracle had told the prince to find the mistress of the stones. Once he wins her heart, he would immediately get salvation. But who is the mistress of the stones? The mines and mines belong to him and Duke Peyton. Without craftsmanship and design, the true value of gemstones cannot be revealed. Noted the Duke's aide, Nielsen. Our Lillian simply must become the Crown Princess. Nielsen, proceed with the plan, ordered Duke Shavini with a loud bang of his fist on the desk. His daughter Lillian entered the Duke's office. Is it really all true? And then I can be his bride? Asked Lillian to her father. You know the prediction, don't you? Who else can be named Mistress of the Gems? It is you and no one else, said Duke Shavini to his daughter. Lillian, whatever happens, I will definitely make you the Crown Princess. I promise you. Seth, formally announce my engagement, ordered Edwin to his assistant. Do you think that's a good idea? If the crows find out about this, they'll definitely step up their surveillance, warned Seth. Isn't it more interesting that way? I'm getting excited at the thought of dealing with them soon. Gotta get ready for the hunt, replied Edwin. Sir, there are only a couple days left until then. Will that be okay? Asked Seth. How much longer can we wait? Said Edwin thoughtfully. He began to twirl his pendant in his hands. Wouldn't you like to put the mistress on notice? Seth inquired. The idea seemed extremely risky to him. No, she hasn't awakened her powers yet. I don't think she should be frightened. I've noticed that Angelina is afraid of a lot of things. She's even wary of me, though I don't understand why. I am very good to her, said Edwin in a thoughtful tone. Seth, don't let Angelina leave the room that day. I am telling you this ahead of time as I am sure we will have to protect her. However, my fiancé better be prepared to be the center of attention. Are you telling me that Duke Crawford has announced his engagement? Has he kidnapped or threatened someone? Crown Prince Asarian clarified. I don't know any details yet. The fact is that the investigation is still ongoing. We've only managed to get her name. Duke Crawford is carefully withholding all information about his fiancée. His future wife's name is Angelina, replied the captain of the reconnaissance squad. Angelina? That's the first time I've heard that name, mumbled the Crown Prince. I checked the lists of nobles. No one has that name, replied the captain. The entire aristocracy of the empire knew about the bad relationship between the emperor and Duke Crawford. If any of the nobles agreed to marry the duke in such a situation, it would be tantamount to defying the ruling family. Could it be that this girl is a noblewoman from a neighboring country? Assumed the Crown Prince. I thought of that too. I started looking for information, but I didn't find anything, replied the captain. So this girl is an ordinary commoner, but why did he decide to get married so suddenly? Asked the prince. It seems to me that Duke Crawford doesn't care about the bride's background. Most likely he just wants to have an heir, said the captain. Anything can be. Many of his generations weren't very choosy about blood, so most of the noble families were unwilling to marry him, and he could indeed act quickly, as he needs a successor. Agreed the prince. The only thing I don't understand is why the rush? He has never said anything about marriage before. It even seemed to me that he wasn't interested in girls. Maybe he's had some health problems? Suppose, Captain. Assyrian knew that after the death of Javelin, Duke Crawford began to have mental problems. Every day he was getting crazier and crazier. Could that really be why he urgently needed a successor? I don't know, I get the impression we're missing something, mumbled the prince. Father told me that the Crawford curse is passed down from generation to generation, so the Duke's curse will be given to his heir as well. Dylan, keep investigating this case. Let me know as soon as you have any new information. And invite Miss Shavini to join me. I think it's time I had a chat with her. And don't forget to bring the latest news to the Duchy of Peyton. Assyrian invited the head of the Ravens, Kassan, into his office. Kassan, I think something is wrong with Crawford. Find out the physical condition of the Duke and his bride. We must not miss anything. And remember, Crawford is the truest monster who loves to hunt. If you make even the slightest mistake, he will tear your throat out. Are you awake yet? Edwin exclaimed happily. I want to warn you that the crows are looking for you, but I'll be right beside you, so don't worry. You'll immediately recognize the approach of a raven. These people have bright red eyes. I understand you're going to protect me to the end, but won't you get in trouble if it becomes known that I'm of the Chavali race? Angelina asked. And we'll make sure no one finds out. We'll dye your hair a different color. Unfortunately, the dye doesn't last very long, only about 2 hours, warned Edwin. Edwin decided to change the color of his bride's hair on his own. Edwin dyed his bride's hair yellow. He really wanted her to look like him. It's beautiful after all, mumbled Edwin, taking a strand of the girl's hair in his hands. I added some of my magic to this dye, so your old hair color won't be back anytime soon. Just remember, this is a family secret. Never tell anyone about it. No one knows I can use magic. There was no magic tower in the Empire, so the number of mages was limited. Also, I want to give you a family artifact. It can't be used without the permission of the head of the family. They are stones that can change the color of your eyes, narrated Edwin. Edwin took the stones and inserted them into the girl's eyes like contact lenses. Edwin suggested to his fiancée to go to town. Edwin brought the girl to the largest jewelry store in the Empire. He offered to purchase some jewelry for her. In the original story, this jewelry store belonged to the main character, Lillian. Welcome, Mr. Seth Million, said the friendly girl as Edwin and Angelina entered the store. Why don't you use your real name? Inquired Angelina. If I use my real name, people will be afraid to talk to me. Besides, I don't want to draw attention to your identity, replied Edwin. Of all the jewelry, Angelina liked the earrings with beautiful yellow stones. These earrings reminded the girl of her favorite flowers' velvets. Edwin helped the girl put on the earrings. They matched her new hair color perfectly. After the jewelry store, Edwin and Angelina went for a walk around the market square. Edwin, can you bring me down to earth? The thing is, this is the first time I've left the mansion, and I want to walk around town on my own 2 feet, Angelina asked. Edwin lowered the girl to the ground. I only put you down because you convinced me about walking, but I want to confess to you that I get uneasy when you move away from me. Therefore, never let go of my hand, Edwin asked the girl. In the center of the town, Angelina saw a fountain. It was decorated with a statue of a fairy. This statue was built by the first head of the Crawford family, Edwin told her. And you mean to say that the Emperor gave permission to keep this statue? You said yourself that he hates fairies. Why did he allow this statue to be placed in the main square? Asked Angelina. And who would dare touch Crawford's land? Asked Edwin in an angry tone. Beryl walked up to Edwin and told him something in a quiet voice. Angelina guessed that something had happened. Angelina, I need to leave for a while. Wait for me here. Don't go anywhere. It won't take long. And don't worry, the knights will be guarding you, said Edwin to the girl. Edwin walked away, leaving Angelina surrounded by knights. Even though the girl was among trained soldiers, she was still scared. Suddenly, a ball rolled up to the girl's feet. "Hey, throw us that ball!" shouted the children. "Nothing will happen if I give the ball back to the kids, right?" Angelina thought, picking the ball up off the ground. "Here, take your ball. I didn't bother throwing it because it might fly somewhere wrong." Angelina held out the ball to one of the boys. A man in a long, dark cloak walked past Angelina. He accidentally grazed her with his foot. "Excuse me, are you all right?" asked the man. The girl hurriedly assured him that she was fine. Angelina noticed that the man was studying her very carefully. It seemed as if they knew each other. "My fiancé is so impatient. I told you to sit by the fountain and not to go anywhere," said Edwin, putting his arm around the girl. "Is this your fiancé?" clarified the man in the cloak. "Yes, what do you want with her?" Edwin asked. His eyes flashed with an unkind light. The man in the cloak apologized and hurried away. "Do you know this man? Have you met him before?" Edwin asked the girl. "It is hard for me to answer that question. I felt like this man recognized me. Maybe we've socialized before, but I don't remember," Angelina admitted. "So the Duke personally went out on the town with his bride? That's very unexpected. If I were him, I would carefully conceal her. Most likely he deliberately wanted to show her off. By the way, did you check her eyes?" Assyrian asked when he finished reading the report. "Yes, I checked everything. She has the most normal eye color and yellow hair. It's unlikely she's of the Chavali race," replied Kassan. "This girl didn't have any notable features?" clarified the Crown Prince. Kassan answered him that the Duke's fiancée was the most ordinary girl. Could it be that he really just wants an heir? The Crawford family has always produced children with golden hair. He brought a bride with the same. Did you happen to notice what the Duke's fortune was? Assyrian asked. "He was acting as usual, nothing remarkable," replied Kassan. The Crown Prince ordered to continue keeping an eye on Duke Crawford. "Even though you say she's the most ordinary girl, I'm still harboring doubts. I want to meet her in person," said the Crown Prince. "I hope it will be quiet for a while at least. However, we shouldn't relax. The Crown Prince is very sneaky," Edwin said thoughtfully. "We will continue to monitor the movements of the crows," said Beryl. "I managed to track down the shark representatives. From them I learned that there was no sign of the child in the vicinity of the desert," reported Seth. "Then where has my fiancé been all this time?" Edwin muttered thoughtfully. Edwin decided to give his bride a black opal pendant. He asked the girl to never take it off. "By the way, I've already prepared our wedding rings." Edwin showed the girl a small jewelry box. "I specifically asked the jewelers to speed things up. I'm glad they met the deadline. I hope you like these rings." "Angelina, it's late, but I still want to congratulate you on our engagement." Edwin slipped the ring onto his bride's finger. "Now everyone will know that you are my bride," said Edwin, and kissed the girl's hand tenderly. "This wedding ring seems to me the truest of burdens. I really wish I could turn back time and avoid meeting that man. I'm still scared to be around him. I'm sure he could lose his temper at any moment," Angelina thought. "Nothing can change now. I can't even run away from him. I am forever chained to this man. My life is in danger. The Emperor and the Crown Prince dream of getting rid of me. How long will I last in this nightmare?" "Now put the wedding ring on my finger." Edwin held out his hand to the girl. Angelina slipped the ring onto Edwin's finger. "Does this ring look good on me? It shows right away that you and I are engaged, doesn't it?" asked Edwin with a cheerful smile. "Yes, of course. We can now be called bride and groom with complete certainty," Angelina exclaimed. She tried to portray happiness on her face. In fact, she wanted to run as far away from this estate as possible. She didn't want to marry a madman. "I really like it when you smile like that. I feel like the cuteness is going to make my heart stop right now. This is the first time I've ever felt such excitement, and it feels insanely good," exclaimed Edwin, and hugged his bride tightly. "Why does he act like that? Sometimes I think he's really happy that we're a couple, but after all, he's an evil tyrant. He shouldn't act like that." Surprised, Angelina thought. I'll be gone tomorrow. The imperial family attracted too much attention, so grave robbers showed up. I can't do anything about the crows yet, so at least I'll have some fun like this," said Edwin to his fiancée. "By the way, don't leave your room tomorrow night. I also want to warn you that monsters appear on the night of the blood moon. They may attack you." Angelina sat in a chair near the window. The moon had indeed turned out to be a blood moon. From the original story, the girl knew that such a moon could summon demons. There were even rumors around the city that during the blood moon, monsters appeared because of the javelin. Therefore, the hatred towards them grew stronger every year. And why did Edwin decide to leave this particular night? I would feel much more at ease if he was around. He's already been able to prove to me that he has the power to protect me. And why do I feel so empty at heart? The girl thought. This is kind of crazy. I know in my brain that he's dangerous and could hurt me, but on the other hand, when he's around, I feel safe. I used to shy away from him, but now I get upset when we're apart. And this opal Edwin gave me. It has some unusual charm to it. I need to awaken my powers as soon as possible, then I can control the stones given to me. But how do I do that? Suddenly, a rumbling sound was heard in the hallway. Angelina hurriedly hid under the blanket. Suddenly, the girl felt that she was short of breath. A pain in the heart appeared. Are all these unpleasant feelings I have because of the blood pact? What if it works both ways? Suddenly, I can sense when Edwin is in danger, too. The girl grabbed all the stones she had and sprinted out of the room. In the hallway, the girl ran into Seth. He asked her to go back to the room. Seth assured the girl that she would be safe there. At the moment, the Lord is checking the defenses of our mansion, so you don't have to worry about anything, said Seth. But it seems to me that Edwin is in danger. I can feel it, exclaimed Angelina. Maybe he didn't tell you, but we made a blood pact. We can feel each other now. If you made a blood pact, then you must know where the Duke is at the moment. Please show me the way. I will follow you, replied Seth. Angelina sensed that Edwin was in the tower. She remembered that he had asked her not to go in there. Mistress, where are you from here? Beryl wondered. I have to meet Edwin. Please let me through, asked Angelina. Beryl, it's okay. You can let her through. I'll be right beside you. I'll explain everything to you afterward, said Seth. Okay, then follow me, replied Beryl. Angelina found the tower very frightening. She felt like there was a monster locked in here. At the end of the corridor, Angelina saw a man chained to the wall. Suddenly, the man gave a loud wail. Angelina realized that it was Edwin chained to the wall. This is how the curse works. The descendants of the Crawford family are born with great power, but they are just as insane. On the day of the blood moon, the Duke's condition worsens. Unfortunately, there's nothing that can be done about it, explained Seth. If I were a true javelin, I would be able to heal him, but I've only just borrowed her body. There's nothing I can do to help him at the moment. I can't do anything with gems. With pain in her heart, Angelina thought, I need to learn, and I need to control the stones as soon as possible. If I don't, he will definitely die eventually during the next blood moon. When Edwin dies, I will be left with no defense. How long can I run and hide from the Emperor and his son? Edwin wailed again. When he screams like that, I feel like he's asking for help. He takes care of me all the time. I can't leave him like this. Yes, I'm not a true Haveli, but this body should know how to use its power. I have to help him. Suddenly, the girl felt the stones in her hands vibrate. They began to glow with a bright light. The girl hurriedly untied her knot. A chill ran down the girl's body. She felt something similar when she touched the guardian tree. Stepping carefully, the girl approached Edwin. He growled angrily. Mistress, I beg you, be careful! Shouted Seth. I'll help you, whispered Angelina, and gently touched Edwin's face. Suddenly, the pendant on his chest glowed brightly. Edwin began to slowly come to his senses. Everything will be okay now, Angelina whispered. The girl fainted. Edwin barely had time to pick her up. She's still too weak, so she can't take the pain for long, Edwin remarked. Members of the Crawford family had felt anger pulsing through their veins since birth. Even with the disgrace from the javelin, they could not live peacefully. The physical pain and desire to kill never completely disappeared. Waking up, Angelina jumped up fearfully on the bed. She wasn't entirely sure that she had been able to help Edwin after all. "And where are you going so early?" Edwin asked. He gently laid his fiancée back on the bed. "Edwin, are you all right? Don't you have any pain?" asked the girl. She wrapped her arms around Edwin's face. "And why are you reacting like that? Admit it, were you worried about me?" Edwin asked the girl. "Of course I was worried when I saw you like that," admitted the girl. "It's okay. Thanks to you, I feel fine." Edwin gently pulled the girl against him. "Now I know what it's like to have someone who cares about you by your side. By the way, I noticed last night that you injured your leg. I personally applied ointment to it and bandaged it. I didn't let anyone else touch you. I did it all myself. My hands still smell of the cure." "You don't have any more pain? You passed out again yesterday." "No, I'm fine. By the way, why is my hair back to its previous color?" asked Angelina. "First of all, I like you better with your natural hair color. And secondly, now you look like a real Haveli, so you can hardly run away from me. By the way, if I die, you'll always walk around with this hair color," replied Edwin. "And I'm sorry you had the misfortune to see me in that condition. I didn't want you to ever see me like that." "Edwin, please tell me what happened yesterday," Angelina asked. "Originally, there were different races in the world. To protect the weakest of them, the gods separated the humans from the other races and forbade them to interact. One of the dragons disobeyed the order and entered the human world. This dragon fell in love with a human woman. The angry god cursed their children and all descendants who had dragon blood in them. They were tormented by madness and died quickly. The dragon could not watch his children suffer, so he offered his life to the god. After much deliberation, the god decided that another race was needed that would not lift the curse, but could alleviate the madness. The god sent the dragon's descendants a race called the Javelis. That's how this symbiosis came about. The Javelis help the Crawfords, and in return, they give them protection. Every head of a family must visit Ambria at least once. There he must repeat his vows and receive an opal," narrated Edwin. "This opal was given to me by my father. I was distraught when I saw my father die. I was lucky that this opal didn't lose its effect and I didn't accidentally kill anyone." This is all very strange. There was nothing in the book about Edwin's insanity. He was perfectly healthy until his death at the hands of the Crown Prince. And I don't remember there being a character named Angelina in the novel. The girl thought to herself. "Angelina, thank you for your help. Without you, I would have surely perished. My strength was running low," Edwin whispered. "I promise you, you will never suffer again. Now during the red moon, I will help you," promised Angelina. "Angelina, remember I once told you that if you learned how to use the stones, I would fulfill your every request. Tell me what you want to get from me." "Edwin, I want a guarantee from you that I will live. Promise me that you will always protect me and keep me safe from myself. To be honest, I am very afraid of dying by your hand since your hobby is killing people. You once told me that you wanted to treat me the way you would treat your fiancé. I want you to keep your word. And anyway, if anything happens to me, you'll be in danger too. Guarantee my safety." "All right, I'll do as you tell me," Edwin promised. "It is said that the Crown Prince has invited the Duke of Chavigny's daughter to his house for tea," reported Hans. He was Duke Peyton's right-hand man. "It seems the Crown Prince has decided to take a closer look at the families of the nobility. Oh well, this will be tiring for him," Duke Peyton muttered. "It's all because of what the Oracle told him. You remember that story, don't you? The Oracle advised the Crown Prince to find the mistress of the gems," said Hans. There were only 2 girls in the Empire who looked like a gem mistress. They were Lillian Chavigny and Evelyn Peyton. The girls' families were in the jewelry business and competed with each other. "Sir, we're in trouble. Mistress Evelyn has a high fever," shouted the butler who burst into Duke Peyton's office. Evelyn lay unconscious. She was tormented by a fever. "She's never had even a trifling illness, and now you claim she's suffering from a fever," clarified Duke Peyton to the doctor. "Don't worry. Fever is a fairly common ailment that is fairly easy to treat, replied the doctor. After a few days, Evelyn did feel better. Father, I apologize for making you worry, said Evelyn. The maid went to the window and opened the curtains sharply. My eyes! It's too bright. I can't open my eyes. Father, I feel strange, screamed Evelyn. It seems after the fever, your daughter's eyes have become too sensitive to light. If Miss takes medicine and flushes her eyes regularly, her condition will improve. However, it won't be possible to cure her completely, said the doctor. And the gemstones? Will I be able to look at gemstones? Asked Evelyn to the doctor. He replied to the girl that it would be better for her not to come in contact with shiny objects. Evelyn, don't feel bad about it. I promise you, we will treat you with all kinds of remedies and drugs. We will give you your sight back, said the Duke to his daughter. I will be a laughing stock if anyone finds out that the future head of the family can't even look at gemstones, exclaimed Evelyn. We've never sought personal mastery. You don't need to check everything yourself. Reliable assistance will save you all the trouble, soothed the Duke to his daughter. And in fact, stop thinking about trivial things. You should concentrate on your treatment for now. Eat and rest. We'll be sure to work something out. Father, do you think what the oracle predicted for me is beginning to happen? Asked Evelyn. I'm even glad you want to come with me. Of course I won't leave you here alone. We'll ride together, promised Edwin. If I remember correctly, you promised me something if I took you with me. Edwin touched his cheek. I shouldn't have promised him anything after all. Who knew he'd remember that? Angelina thought to herself. Angelina kissed Edwin on the cheek. What are you made of? Your touch makes me satiated even though I haven't eaten anything today. It also makes me dizzy. I think it's your hands. Or no, I like your lips much better, whispered Edwin. Damn, he definitely wants to kiss me on the lips, but I'm not mentally ready for that yet. The girl thought to herself. Sir, the shark captain has arrived as you requested, shouted Seth, who entered the room. Evelyn turned crimson red. Now there would definitely be rumors that they had kissed. What kind of man is that? I was just starting to get used to him, and he immediately attacked me. I should drink more tea. They say it calms you down. Angelina thought. She decided to have a little tea party for herself in the garden. Since the plot of this book is familiar to me, I know for sure that a lot of events will happen in the capital soon, and I need to be ready for it. By the way, this time I will meet Duke Peyton. He appeared in the original story around this time. The book told us that around this point, the Duke's daughter Evelyn was suffering from the effects of a fever. Most likely at this point it was very difficult for her to be in the light room. But I know that this illness was no mere fever. The girl was poisoned by a decoction of acaida. Poisoning with this plant gives symptoms similar to fever. It wasn't until near the end of the book that Duke Peyton found out who poisoned his daughter. It was all carefully planned. As much as I feel sorry for Duke Peyton's daughter, I still shouldn't get involved in the story. My survival comes first for me. If I make a big glow, I might get hurt. However, I can act cautiously. If I help Duke Peyton, I will have a chance to obtain Sephiroth's sword that is in his estate. But how can I help his daughter without revealing my powers? I was supposed to be by your side and protect you, shouted Huey, cradling Edwin's head tightly to his side. Edwin asked him to take his hands off his head. Sir, how can you say such horrible things to me? You have no idea how much I was worried about you. When I heard that you were in danger, my heart suddenly sank, exclaimed Huey. I am glad that you now have a mistress in your life. The only thing is, we still don't know where she even came from. I've investigated the matter in other countries as well, but I've never been able to find out anything about her. If Huey couldn't find anything on my fiancée, the Ravens certainly won't know anything about her, Edwin remarked to himself. As you ordered me to do, I've been looking for information on grave robbers. There are rumors of ancient treasures hidden in the desert. Some claim they are precious stones. However, they are not ordinary stones. Huey began to narrate. There is a rumor going around the Empire that there are mysterious stones hidden in the desert that resemble flowers in appearance. People also talk about the ancient kingdom of Eucalis. It's considered sacred. They say the imperial family is looking for it. By the way, as soon as the rumors of the desert started, the crows immediately stirred. Most likely, the imperial family is looking for the treasures left behind by Haveli. The only thing I still don't understand is why they want those stones. Maybe there's some kind of power hidden in them? Huey, find out as much as you can about these stones. Somehow I think the Emperor wants to get rid of me with these stones, Edwin said thoughtfully. Sir, I come to you with a report. A few minutes ago the mistress asked me for a favor, said Seth as he entered. She asked me to help look for a gift for you. Mistress said she wanted to give you a surprise. And what kind of surprise does my fiancé want to do for me? Edwin asked his assistant. She has made a sketch of the intended gift. Seth held out a folded piece of paper to the Duke. When Edwin unfolded the piece of paper, he saw a sketch of glasses. She wants to make the glasses out of black stone? That's very unusual, mumbled Huey. Can I help her in making these glasses? Asked Seth. Yes, help and make some of those glasses, replied Edwin. Since Mistress has asked me to keep this a secret, please pretend like you don't know about anything, asked Seth. I feel like I've been chased by wolves for a long time, the man in the dark cloak thought to himself. Though that could have been that mad Duke's mercenaries. Since I know his fiancée, he's bound to want to find me. To be honest, I never thought I would be able to see those eyes again. I was out west all the time, but somehow I couldn't find her. Maybe she was avoiding me on purpose? Now all I can do is wait. If she had trusted me then, waited. How pathetic I am. I resented being abandoned then. Sir, the pursuit has lost its way. I await your further instructions, said the knight who approached. Find me information on Duke Crawford's fiancée, asked the man in the dark cloak. I need to know everything about her. I need to make sure it's her. The day of the trip to the capital came. Edwin changed the color of his bride's hair again. Angelina, I have something for you. Edwin took out a thin bracelet from a hidden pocket. This bracelet I made from your stones. Now you can carry them with you at all times without attracting undue attention. Before, I always thought I knew Edwin well since I had read the book. But was what it said true? It didn't tell me anything about his curse or the pain he's in. Thought Angelina clutched the bracelet to her chest. At first, I was just afraid of him, but then things slowly started to change. What is he really like? Is he hiding something from me? Why is he so gentle towards me? Angelina, what's wrong with you? You didn't like the bracelet? Edwin asked. Thank you, I liked your bracelet very much, mumbled the girl. Since it was going to be a long journey, it was decided to stop for a few days in Catane. Angelina heard a noise outside the window. Looking out the window, she saw a large gathering of people. Today is the opening of the festival, so we've arrived just in time. The festival is held in honor of the big catch, so there will be plenty of grilled fish to eat, Edwin told the girl. To be honest, I don't really like grilled fish, however. I know you like seafood. If I've got it right now, Edwin, who is described as an arrogant and cruel dragon, has changed his principles and is now putting up with the inconvenience for my sake, remarked Angelina to herself. Well, enough sitting in the room. Let's go for a walk, said Edwin and picked the girl up in his arms. Angelina noticed that the stares of passers-by were turned in their direction. This really surprised her. The thing that strikes me is the fact that they have festivals here. There's no such thing in the West. And why are people looking at us like this? I expected attention to our personalities, but this is overkill, Angelina thought. Edwin has never traveled outside his domain before, so no one here knows him. If people knew who he really was, they wouldn't stare at him like that. For the moment, he's just a handsome young man to them. Edwin, somehow I get the impression you're very annoyed, said Angelina. I don't like people staring at us, admitted Edwin. Well, since it pisses you off, then I suggest we go back to the hotel. Angelina was beginning to worry that she wouldn't be able to curb her anger and would make some mistake. No, I intend to show you the sea, replied Edwin. Edwin brought his bride to the sea. The beauty of the blue waves mesmerized the girl. Edwin lowered his bride to the ground so she could walk on the warm sand. Angelina stepped into the water and beckoned Edwin to follow her. I don't want to go in the water. I like watching you better by staying here, replied Edwin. Damn, his words really embarrassed me. That sounded really touching, thought Angelina. Careful! Angelina heard someone's frightened scream. She looked up and saw a ball flying at her. Angelina guessed that she wouldn't be able to dodge the ball. Edwin ran up to Angelina and fended off the sword flying at her. Hey you, are you ready to pay for threatening my fiancé's life? Edwin asked the dark-haired boy in an angry tone. It was his fault that the ball flew towards Angelina. I apologize. My inattention caused you inconvenience. I am from the family of Earl Ailsa. My name is Benjamin Ailes. As an apology, I would like to make amends for the damage I caused you, said the guy. It was obvious from his face that he was sorry for what happened. If it were my will, even your death wouldn't be enough. But my fiancé is unlikely to want that, so I'll have to agree to compensation. I believe you are now obligated to please my fiancé, said Edwin. Angelina noted to herself that the dark-haired boy reacted rather calmly to Edwin's threats. Although he was very young, he appeared to be quite intelligent. In the evening, the festival ended with a colorful fireworks display. Edwin and I noticed that no one sets off fireworks in the West, said Angelina. Edwin answered her that since his father's death, he was annoyed by loud noises, so he forbade the setting off of fireworks. Suddenly, a vicious roar was heard. Monsters appeared in the square. Where did these monsters come from? It's still a long way away from the appearance of the blood moon, Edwin muttered in surprise. Angelina, wait for me here. Try not to look at what's going on, Edwin asked, covering the girl's eyes with his hand. Angelina was frightened by the sounds coming from the room, but she was afraid to leave as Edwin could go insane at any moment. She should have been by his side. Angelina noticed that the young boy they had met on the beach was surrounded on all sides by monsters. There was only one knight left next to him. Angelina decided to help the kid. Benjamin, come here! Shouted Angelina. She was confident that the lad would be safe surrounded by Crawford's knights. Young Master Benjamin, obey this girl and go to her, said Benjamin's knight. Benjamin almost reached the Crawford knights, but suddenly a monster pounced on him from around the corner. After injuring the guy, the monster knocked him to the ground. Angelina screamed in fright. Edwin ran towards the monster and chopped it in half with one blow of his sword. He ordered Beryl to take care of the boy. Angelina noticed that the wounds on the guy's body were very deep, causing him to lose a lot of blood. If he is not helped right now, he will die. Angelina reached for the bracelet on her leg. She decided to use the power of the stones. No, don't do that, exclaimed Edwin, grabbing the girl's arm. Yes, he's right. I can't use my power in public. If even one person finds out I'm a Javelli, all my plans will fall apart. But I can't stand by with a teenager dying beside me, Angelina thought. Then take us somewhere quiet. I'm not going to let this kid die. If he dies right here in front of me, I'll be in agony for the rest of my life, the girl exclaimed. Edwin ordered Beryl to carry the lad to the tent. Angelina took the bracelet off her leg and placed it on the lad's body. In the same second, the stones began to take effect. Edwin remained outside the tent fighting the monsters. There seemed to be no end to them. Master, there's something wrong with these monsters, noticed Beryl. Edwin noticed that the monsters were quiet for a moment. They froze in place with their ears pressed against their heads. The monsters began to slowly back away. Edwin guessed that the monsters could sense Angelina's power. Beryl, when Angelina went to the tower that day, did the monsters disappear too? Edwin asked. Beryl told him that as soon as the girl went to the tower, the monsters left too. Until today, I thought that the monsters appeared because of my condition, but now I'm sure that's not the case. On top of that, they're afraid of the javelin, said Edwin. The man in the long black cloak couldn't stop muttering an incantation. Oh no, my monsters. They have stopped listening to my orders again. Could it be because of Duke Crawford? Could it be that his progressing madness is having such an effect on the beasts? The man exclaimed. This is the first time they have behaved strangely in Crawford's lands. What has begun to affect them? Then again, why would someone who has spent his whole life in the West go south? Something clearly doesn't add up here. Also, why did half of the magic stones become inactive? It was a brilliant idea to use the power of monsters to draw life energy and then put it into the stones. Unfortunately, now the results have stopped showing up. I was really hoping to be able to absorb all of the monster's life energy in the coming days. However, someone has interfered with my plans. I need to go to the Emperor as soon as possible. "Where am I?" shouted Benjamin, jumping up on the bed. "At the moment, you are at the Winston Hotel. And since you've already come to your senses, can you leave my room?" asked Edwin to the lad. "I have sent a message to your father. He should be here shortly to fetch you." "Strange, I felt a wild pain. I had already thought I was dead," mumbled Benjamin. "I had a mage I know come here. He was the one who cured you," explained Edwin. "Now listen to me carefully. Never, ever tell anyone that you were cured by a mage I know. Tell everyone that I saved you from a stalking monster." I wonder if Benjamin is awake. I really wanted to nurse him back to health, but Edwin forbade me to do so. Angelina thought to herself. Edwin came into the girl's room. He told her that Benjamin had recovered and was feeling well. "I've been trying very hard, looking after the sick man. I did everything I could to keep you from worrying. I didn't leave the lad's side all night. Will there be any reward for me for that?" Edwin asked his bride. "I think you know what I'm implying?" Edwin touched his cheek. "Well, I'm waiting." Edwin set his cheek up for a kiss. Angelina gently kissed Edwin's cheek. Suddenly, Edwin grabbed the girl by the shoulders and kissed her passionately on the lips. "Stop it! You've gone too far!" Angelina exclaimed and pushed Edwin away from her. The Archbishop decided to personally check the place where the monsters had appeared the other day. Examining the ground, the Archbishop noticed that it was soaked in black manna. All of this should be reported to the temple. However, I don't think it's time for us to step out of the shadows. We will continue to observe what is going on," said the Archbishop. Angelina looked out the window. The beauty of the capital mesmerized her. The girl remembered that, according to the original story, Edwin would soon meet the main character, Lillian, and perhaps he would develop feelings for her. If the events will develop according to the original story, and Edwin will fall in love with Lillian, what will I do then? The girl thought sadly. "Angelina, are you seasick? For some reason you've gone very pale," said Edwin, putting his arm around the girl. "I feel fine, just worried about something," Angelina admitted. "And when will my dear bride stop worrying about nothing? I told you, as long as I am by your side, you have nothing to worry about. Try not to think about silly things," said Edwin to the girl. Angelina offered Edwin a snack at the bakery. Suddenly, Angelina saw a girl with long silver hair enter the bakery. Angelina guessed that it was Lillian Chavini. "I didn't think Edwin would meet Lillian so soon," ran through Angelina's mind. Suddenly, Edwin walked up to Lillian and grabbed her by the hair. Angelina gasped in surprise. She hadn't expected Edwin to react this way. "What is this?" growled Edwin angrily. "What are you doing? Quickly let me go!" shouted Lillian. "Why did you decide to enter the bakery without a line?" asked Edwin to the girl. "Take your hands off our mistress immediately." The Chavini knights surrounded Edwin on all sides. Edwin let go of Lillian's hair from his hands. "What an ignorant man you are! Do you realize who you have treated so rudely? You will pay for the harm you have caused with your life," Lillian exclaimed. Looking into Edwin's icy eyes, Lillian immediately changed from anger to mercy. "All right, though. As a sincere aristocrat, I'll be magnanimous. Right now, kneel before me and apologize. Then I might forgive you. Know that before you stands Duke Chavini's daughter," said Lillian. "So I am surrounded by Chavini hats?" clarified Edwin. Raising his hand up, he snapped his fingers loudly. The Chavini knights were immediately approached by the Crawford knights and fell to the ground. One of the knights was dropping Edwin his sword. "I have tried to remain patient, but your familial behavior is out of line," said Edwin, pulling out his sword. How dare you point your sword at Duke Shavini's daughter? Did you really think you could get away with it? Lillian exclaimed in surprise. This situation displeases me greatly. We shouldn't quarrel with Duke Shavini. Until I have Sephiro's sword in my hands, we should be quiet. Angelina thought to herself. Edwin, I have a headache for some reason. Let's go back to the carriage. Angelina asked gently, taking Edwin's hand. Okay, we'll go back to the carriage when I'm done here, replied Edwin. Angelina realized that her ruse wasn't working. She should have acted differently. If we leave right now, I'll do whatever you say. Angelina promised Edwin. You'll do anything? Edwin clarified. Yes, I'll do anything you ask if we get back to the carriage right now, replied Angelina. Well, since that's the case, then I agree, said Edwin and hid his sword in its scabbard. Edwin picked Angelina up in his arms and carried her to the carriage. What the hell just happened? And why did he think I would just leave this matter to chance? I'll be sure to find him and make him regret what happened. Lillian promised herself. As I thought, the capital is not for me. It's too noisy and there are a lot of brash people here. Sighing heavily, Edwin said, Edwin, I have a question for you. I noticed that Duke Shavini's daughter's hair is practically white. Isn't she a Javelli? Angelina asked. That's most likely not her natural hair color. If she was of the Javelli race, she wouldn't be able to walk around town so openly. Besides, her eyes don't look like gems, replied Edwin. But I'm not a real Javelli either, am I? I'm just an ordinary girl who happened to possess this body. I don't know how to use the stones. Everything happens by itself. Most likely the body remembers its abilities. Angelina thought to herself, Edwin, if suddenly there is a girl in your life that you like, you can safely start chatting with her. I won't mind, mumbled Angelina. Angelina, look at me. Edwin wrapped his hands around the girl's face and looked intently into her eyes. Angelina, you are my bride. This is a decision I have made on my own. I am firmly convinced that I need no one else but you. And in case you haven't forgotten, you promised to fulfill my every wish. I want it. Edwin touched his lips. Can't you ask for something else? Angelina exclaimed fearfully. The girl had never been kissed before, not even in real life. She had not been in a relationship. Edwin's behavior made her very uncomfortable. You know very well that I have never broken a promise. The same thing I want to get in return. You yourself promised that you would fulfill my every wish. Have you decided to deceive me? Or have you decided to renege on your words? Edwin took the girl's hand. All right, I will fulfill my promise, exclaimed a blushing Angelina. The girl touched her lips to Edwin's. That's it. I have granted your wish, Angelina exclaimed, embarrassed, turning away from Edwin. Edwin took the girl by the shoulders and turned her around to face him. Lately, I feel like just a little more, and I'm going to go crazy. My heart is beating so fast I can't stand it anymore, Edwin admitted. If you don't mind, let's sit with you like this for a little while longer. I really like being in your arms. Edwin rested his head on Angelina's shoulder. The girl guessed that this man was unlikely to ever let her go. But would she want him to let her go?